Good morning, everyone. We are now streaming live. It's 7 a.m. Wednesday morning with Casey Stubbs from Trading Strategy Guides. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing well this fine morning. Hope you guys are able to trade well in these markets and use the current market moves to your advantage and to grow your account, to not lose your head, to stay cool, to have a plan, follow through with that plan, execute, and see the results. So here we are. This is trade number 17 coming up today on the Trading Challenge. I've been looking at some of the other trades that I've been in, checking everything to see how they've been progressing and how everything's been going. And so far it's been moving pretty good. Yesterday we talked about that USD Swiss trade that I was in. Pretty interesting setup. That I was in. It's kind of been just holding steady right now. Interesting setup, and we'll see. Sometimes when we get these inside bars, let me zoom this up a little bit. Sometimes when we get these inside candles, inside bars, we'll get a rejection to the downside. Sometimes when we get these inside candles, and then bars, on the other hand, sometimes when we get inside candles, inside bars, on the other hand, sometimes this is what they call bars. On the other hand, sometimes this is what they call bars. On the other hand, sometimes they'll call these inside bars. On the other hand, sometimes they'll call these inside bars. Another target on the other hand. Sometimes they'll call these inside now they call another target on the other hand. Sometimes they'll call these inside now they call another target on the other hand. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another target on the other hand. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another target on the other hand. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another target on the other hand. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another target on the other hand. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another target on the other hand. Sometimes sometimes now they call another demonstration. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another demonstration. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another demonstration. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another demonstration. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another demonstration. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another demonstration. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another demonstration. Sometimes they'll call these sometimes now they call another demonstration. All right, now let me know, guys, if you're able to get back here and see if it's working. What is going on? So odd. All right, now let me know, guys, if you're able to get back here and see if it's working. What is going on? That was very odd. Okay, so it seems like it's working now. Good. Okay, so let me know, guys, if that happens again. Not sure what happened. My software, my recording software did an update this morning, and I updated it before the video, and that might have done it. So lesson learned, if they ask you to update before a video, don't do it. So let me know, guys. Okay. Now, I was talking about potential re-entry here because I had actually done that earlier in this series, and you can see it on the spreadsheet. I entered this trade, this euro dollar, and then I added an additional position here. Or no. I had an additional position here on trade number 5, and it was I had 2 of these trades open because it was a re-entry. You can go back and look at the entire challenge to see the results of that. Okay, and it's Wednesday, so it's the midweek. You know, my good friend Tim Black always says it's Wednesday. He says it's hump day. Get over it. let's make it happen and enjoy our day. So I'll just review the trades. I was looking at the USD Swiss. Seems to be holding pretty good here. If it does break to the downside, there's a definite possibility that I could get taken out of this, but I decided to hold off because I really believe that this momentum, see this big strong move, and there's been a couple really big strong moves. I really believe that this could carry. Now, the thing about strong moves like this is they always do have to pull back a little bit, so it is a little bit risky when I did that, because you can see here was a pullback and here's a pullback. But when it's really, one thing I've learned is that when it's really strong, sometimes the pullbacks are very mild, and when that happens, then you get a really nice explosion to the upside, and that's what I'm hoping to get. And since I have profit locked in, there's not a lot to lose. So, hey, John, Ariel, Navitron, I appreciate everybody for coming by. Thanks a lot. And getting close to the end of the challenge, so I'm going to be taking some time over the weekend to think about what I want to do next to help you guys, because it's really important to me that that we're continually growing this community and getting everybody the skills they need to be successful in trading. Okay, let's take a look at that pound New Zealand trade that I took yesterday, because I believe I'm still in that. So if you guys remember yesterday, the pound New Zealand, I took that right here. You can see there's a 4-hour candle that's popping up. It was this candle here, and got really nice follow through right away. And launched up, but now there's a real problem with this, and that is all of these resistance candles. Boom, 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 boom. Every time it tried to make a move up, it got rejected. And here's another one. The good news is, in my favor, is I did get a nice chunk of profit. We're on the hourly, we're trailing above this 100 period moving average, and I believe that this could act as a stop loss now, or not a stop loss, but as a resistance, a support. And so as this moves up, we might see the price pop back and then get up. I really need this current level to go in order to, I need this to get taken out to feel really good about this trade. I'm currently up 160 pips. I was 240. And so that's a good thing that I'm up 160 pips. I'm up right now about $1,000, and my risk is 918. So I'm already up over what I'm risked on it. If I can get over here, if I can get over this level, I'm going to seriously look at locking in some profit. So that is the pound New Zealand and the USD Swiss are both looking pretty good right now. Now, as far as new trades go, I'm thinking about taking a look at this Bitcoin today. Bitcoin can be a pretty big mover, and we don't know what's going to happen. However, what just occurred is a very bearish signal. And I was actually talking about going long as well. So if I'm always thinking both sides, to be honest. But if we look at a couple times that it's actually moved this strong, we did get a bit of a pullback. But this fall that we see here is pretty strong. And earlier we had a even bigger fall if we look back at last year. And it went from 16,000 all the way down to 5, and there was a really strong bounce. And so that's the thing that this Bitcoin does when it has a big move, is it can bounce really hard. However, this is the same scenario that I talked about with the USD Swiss. You get a big move, a pause bar, or an inside candle. And I think this is just a pause. Yesterday I was talking about potentially going long, and we just didn't get a lot of momentum. You can see the MACD's really flattened out. We still don't have a lot of momentum on the downside either, but it's got that current burst of momentum from the downside move. and I feel like it's got possibly one more move. And so we just crossed below this period here, this moving average, and the MACD starting to turn. And on the daily, the MACD is still got some room for downward momentum. I think we could easily get back down to this 3,800 level, and if it does go to that, I could expect it to get tested even further and maybe hit 3,000 or 2,000. So I'm gonna actually take this trade right now. We got a decent setup on it, I believe. That this is crossed below. I'm gonna use this as my stop loss, and so it's a huge stop loss, about $400. And in Bitcoin, that goes away in 10 seconds. So it's a $400 stop loss. And I'm just going to take the trade right now. And I'm going to put 2 lots on it. And we'll just check to make sure the risk is acceptable. It's a little more difficult to calculate the risk on this Bitcoin. And so if I'm wrong, I'm just going to delete the trade. Not like what I did with the Euro ZAR. If you remember yesterday, I messed up big time on that one. Got stopped out right away. Okay. So I'm putting my stop loss right here at $992. So that's right on the money. And the actual price appears to be $496. So it's about a $500 stop loss. Let's go ahead and look at my take profit. So I'm got $1,000 on the stop. I'm going to actually go down to about the 3,500 level here on the take profit. So it's a 3-to-1, and my first crypto trade during this challenge, so you guys can enjoy that. Let's go ahead and make sure that this spreadsheet's totally updated, because I've had a huge drop. I'm still profitable though, but E17, did I add that in? Yeah, and I got E18 in here too, which doesn't make any sense. E8. Oh, okay. I actually didn't add that. So I'm really hurting right now. Really hurting on this. Okay, so that should have updated, right? The graph didn't update, but this did. So I'll have to look and see why the graph didn't update. And what I'm probably going to do is and I don't know if this is going to mess up my calculations, but I'm going to move this because control. I'm just going to delete this column, and I'm going to put the Euro ZAR up 1. Just because. So now I'm on a huge losing streak here. But that will actually happen sometimes because I do have a trade locked in. And again, anything I do is for educational purposes, because could you imagine following me on this 5-trade losing streak? You guys would probably hate me. That's why this is for educational purposes only. All right, let's update that. E19. Okay. So my average loss, I've got 10 losses right now. That's a lot. Still, my win percentage has dropped. $16 closed trades. 31%, and still in $9,000 in profit. Still pretty interesting, huh? Average loss, that cannot be right. Let me count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 losses. So my average loss is $980. So my risk to reward ratio is what's saving me here. And that's been pretty good. So that's a really good thing. So trades to go in the challenge, we got 2. I can only lose 9 in a row. I did not expect to go on this losing streak. But then again, I kind of did because I know that this happens. And I'm really happy about this, that my average loss has been under the $1,000. That's pretty exciting. And that my average win has been $4,000. That's pretty good. And as I continue to get these big winners, if this USD Swiss can come, that will help it even more. And the longer I'm consistent, the better these numbers will look. Because after I did this for 40 trades, then this would be even better. So that's what we're looking at here. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull up the chart. So I'm taking this Bitcoin. It has been kind of a slow-moving consolidator. So it, again, just like all the other trades, it could easily get me out. But one thing I like to always remember when I take a trade is I never know what's going to happen. And hey, Reddy, it's nice to see you. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to be releasing some updates via email this week and some videos on just some promotions and things that I'm running. And it's all designed to help you guys trade better during the coronavirus and the crazy markets that we're getting. So just stay tuned for that, for those of you guys that listen to the channel a lot and that have been following this. So just keep an eye on your email if you're on my email list. And that's the trading strategy guides list. Okay, so that's it. Let's go ahead and just pull back up to the pound New Zealand. And it's looking ugly. That's looking ugly. Not what I wanted to see, but we're pushing into a strong area of resistance here. We got some downward momentum, and so hopefully we'll catch some price reversal in this zone, because as my good friend Tim always says, resistance and support is never a line but rather a zone, and a lot of times it'll pop in and pop out just to try to get some of those extra trades and get the market volatility. So not exactly what I wanted to see at this point, but hopefully we'll get a nice reversal pattern setting up. Okay, USD Swiss. And the USD Swiss, on the other hand, is looking good. It's starting to pop here. And if we look at a 15-minute, remember I was talking about re-entries? A great way to re-enter on a trade is a 15-minute. So if you get a pullback below, a pop below the moving average, you get a switch over on the MACD. The 15-minute could have been a really nice re-entry. Definitely something I would have considered. Since I have the Bitcoin trade on, my timing is off just about 30 minutes. 20 minutes. I would have probably entered this right at the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock area, right when I started this recording, right when I started this video. And that would have been maybe a nice place for a re-entry. But again, who knows what's going to happen. So we got the pound New Zealand, one last check before I fade away. And then if you guys have any questions right now, I do have a little bit of time here. Do you guys have a specific question about something? Please go ahead and hit that up. And make sure that if you've enjoyed this, please hit that like button. I always appreciate to get some good feedback from everyone. Okay, well, I really do want to get this locked in. Because I want to stop the bleeding on my losing streak. So I'm really hoping, and I always hope for a good trade, but you never know what's going to happen. I'm really hoping that this thing will get a nice rejection bar and take off. And with the pound New Zealand, the thing is so amazing the way it chops. Like was one of the things that makes this hard to trade is these aren't clean moves. If you notice these moves here, they're all up and down, like chop, 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 and then a big burst. Like this one, you'd think, oh, this is a downtrend, strong and powerful, then boom, instantaneous reversal. And so that's the thing that can throw you off with this pair. This thing is a little challenging. And so the good news is I have kind of built myself some room. I've got a nice little trend line here as well. So we've got some really good areas of resistance or support. This line, this trend line, this zone here. So the pound New Zealand could have whipped through it all, but I do have that in my favor, even though with trading anything can happen and you never know what can happen. Thanks, Reddy. Appreciate it, John. All it's in big time frame. Yeah, John, I'm not really sure I get your question there. It's all in a big time frame. This right now I'm looking at hourly. What I need to probably consider with these 1 hour. Well, you know, Mason, who's been on this channel, has asked me some questions about conflicting signals in time frames, and I can talk about that for a minute. And it was in a chat, and sometimes it can be hard to answer a question in a chat. The thing about these multiple time frames is I like to look at and dial it down, and for the main reason of trying to improve my stop loss positioning. So for example, yesterday when I took this trade, I was able to get a tighter stop. If I would have been trading this on the daily, I would have put it all the way down here. And the question that he had specifically, and there's two questions I think that are going to come up. One is what time frame's better, and two, what if you get a conflicting signal? So what if the daily is telling you that it's a buy, but the hourly is telling you that it's a sell? Or what if the hourly is telling you that it's a resistance point, and the daily is telling you that it's a breakout? So the way that I look at it is, I always have believed that the higher time frame controls more authority, and so because of that, you want to put that into consideration. But my recommendation is to actually write out some strong rules that you would follow, just so that you get familiar with them, and then as you write those rules down, you'll be able to see if they're working or not. Because if you just always go on your feelings or on what you're looking at the current time, you're never going to know what works better, right? So you might just feel like this looks like a good trade, but if you don't have a strong rule, you can't test it. I think that the biggest cause of success is testing things that work. And analyzing the data, analyzing the numbers. So if I know that I come up into a moving average on an hourly and the moving average is a breakout on the daily, and I always take that daily trade instead of what's the hourly saying, and I follow that and I analyze the data and I see what happens, then that will give me a clear indication of what works better. And that is the only way to know whether something works better or not, is through testing. And so I personally will go through with the lower time frame for my entry, even if it's showing that I'm going up into resistance on a daily. And that might get me in trouble, but I have found through my testing is that creating a smaller stop loss and a bigger trade size makes me more money when I'm right. And so I will go with the lower time frame, even though it might be wrong more often. Even though I might be wrong more often, when it does get right, I make more money. And so over long term, I'll be wrong more and I'll make more money. So I will still continue to go with the lower time frame. And you've actually been able to see that on this trading challenge by looking at some of the trades I've taken, and you've been able to see that I've hit some big winners, and by keeping my losers consistent. So this is a definite free-for-all right now. It's just a straight down. And the good news about this is that it can stop at any time, especially the pound New Zealand. Look at this. It was dropping like crazy and then boom, dropping like crazy and boom. So this can stop anytime, and my trade is set, so I can't really worry about it. Now, another great question that Martin asked was, how does multiple losses in a row change my trading strategy? The entries and the exit doesn't really change too much when I lose a lot in a row. What it will do mentally is I get a little bit more risky when I am on a big win streak, and when I'm on a big lose streak, I'm a little less risky. I'm more conservative. So let me give you a couple examples of that. So if I'm on a big losing streak like I am right now, I will tend to try to get a little bit bigger stop loss just so I can get a winner, right? Like, okay, I've lost 5 in a row. I got to get a winner. I need to increase my odds, because I feel like in trading, it's all about percentages, right? And so if I am on a losing streak, I'm going to want to take a trade that will increase my odds of winning. So there's 2 things that I can do. Number one is I can take with a little bit bigger stop loss and also higher probability setups. Yeah, the pound New Zealand doesn't want me. But you know what? It's just like I said, Ariel, this thing can whip back so fast. And so anyhow, I want to take more accurate trades, and I actually I've actually done that a little bit in this challenge for this USD Swiss. I took 2 USD Swisses. One I lost because it was a tight stop, and then 2 days ago when I entered this USD Swiss again, I was getting sick of getting stopped out, so I went and made my stop a little bit bigger. So that's one thing I will do, is I'll make my stop a little bigger to increase my probability. When you make a bigger stop loss, you increase your probability of winning a trade. Now, another thing that I will do if it gets really bad is I'll just cut my risk. So if I'm on $1,000 a trade and I just am getting slammed, I'll just drop that to 500, and I'll only risk 500. And then once I get some more winners and I start building up my profit again and I start feeling comfortable, I'll then increase it again. I think that mentally you want to always be comfortable with your losses. And so if you're starting to feel nervous, uneasy, and it's causing you to make some mistakes, then you want to eliminate the risk until you're comfortable. Everybody has a different risk tolerance, and you want to be comfortable with what you're risking. And if you're not comfortable risking $1,000, risk 500. If you're not comfortable risking 500, risk 10. I actually just got a message from some wise person that said that they were going to try this 20 trade challenge and they're going to risk $10 a trade. And I think that's really cool. I mean, you can actually totally do that. That's the cool thing about currency trading, is you can adjust your size to fit what your risk tolerance is. So $10 a trade, great. And then, from there, build it up to, 15. If you can do a 20 trade challenge, if you guys that are listening right now can do a 20 trade challenge at $10 a trade and you can be profitable, guess what? You can do it again, and you can do it with 15. So the 2 things that I do when I'm losing is I will move my stop loss a little bit bigger to increase my probability, and then if it continues to get bad, I'll drop my risk down, because ultimately I want to stay in the game. I don't want to lose so much that I get mentally messed up. And for me to stay in the game requires 2 things. It requires me to stay in the game mentally, and it also requires me to stay in the game with a bank account, with the trading account. I have to have money. those both factors are both very important. Have money in your account and mentally be ready. Because I've been in situations where I've taken losses and it's messed me up so bad that I literally couldn't get a win afterwards for a long time just because my mindset was so jacked up. So I've been scarred emotionally by some bad trading decisions. When you do something stupid, you feel like an idiot, and then you just continue to lose over and over again, and then you just it's like going down a spiral of pain. The key is, if hopefully you guys have never experienced that, but the key for me is I just don't give up. I just keep moving forward, and eventually my mind will get right, because I have a goal of being successful, and I'm willing to change my own personal behaviors and mindsets in order to accomplish that goal. The only reason I've been able to be successful is because of changing my habits, changing my thinking, changing a lot of things about myself. And the only way that I was able to do that is to have those goals in place and to say, look, I'm not going to stop until it happens. Either I'm going to change or I'm going to quit, and I'd rather change. And so as a result, it's caused me to change. And I love changing. For me, and maybe this is other people too, but for me, changing is one of the hardest things to do. Changing my habits, changing my behaviors, being more productive in life. And I am constantly working at improving myself and changing myself. And it's worked out really well for me in trading, but also in every area of my life. And trading is just a very small part of my life, and I'm working on this type of stuff through everything that I do, is trying to change my habits so that I can be more productive and successful in life. And another thing about this losing streak thing is I want to talk about winning streaks. So when I'm on a big winning streak, I tend to get a little bit riskier as well. So if I'm on a massive windfall and I'm making a lot of money and everything's going good and I'm on a good streak, I'll tend to tighten up my stops. So if I've won 3 trades in a row and I'm up $15,000 or whatever, I'll be like, okay, now I can risk $1,000, but why not go for a 10 pip stop and see if I can nail it? Because then if I get a 10 pip stop, instead of a 5-to-1, I'm at a 10-to-1. And so what I try to do is, when I'm on a winning streak, I try to push the limit, right? Without messing up my mind and thinking that I'm like a trading god, because that's what happens. You think you're amazing and then you risk it all. Done that, been there, done that. Like, I'm literally the greatest trader of all time. The market likes to get into your head so it can pop the air out of your balloon. So I do like to push the limit. So if I'm on a nice win streak, I will then, I'll cut the stop a little bit and try to get 5, instead of a 5-to-1, go for a 10-to-1. And then when you do that, then you really get some nice windfall, a nice profit burst, and then you can handle a few more losers. And it really helps your mental state too, as long as you don't get overconfident, which is one of the big obstacles. The good thing about the market is it's very good at keeping traders humble. Very good at that. Okay, so ready. I'm not really sure about the color. I'll have to look into that. Someone was asking me about a manual for this, and I thought when we downloaded it there was an actual manual that had all the information when you click the free update. If not, I'm going to put that on my to-do list and make sure that you guys have that. So that's what I'm going to check into today, because I'm not really sure what the color of that means. Okay, so the USD Swiss is just kind of being flat. What's the pound doing? The pound is dropping hard. So hopefully I can get out of this thing. It's hitting the resistance now. I always get names wrong, by the way. Just for those of you guys that are watching me live, I call support resistance and resistance support. I literally do it all the time. And it's kind of interesting because my kids have a problem with that, because I need to work on this, but I literally cannot get their names right. I have 9 kids, so that's not an excuse, but like my one son, Austin, I always call him Ethan. And it's unbelievable. It's crazy how often I cannot get their names right. It's really interesting. So I got to work on that. And so when you hear me say resistance when it's actually support, that's just my brain not acting properly. For some reason, I have trouble pulling up the right word. Okay. Yeah, this thing is dropping hard. So let's keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens. Just in the start of this session, it was really looking good. It's actually just from when I opened up this candle, we've already dropped 260 pips. The good news is I had a nice cushion, so that could protect me. This thing does whip around a lot, but this could have been a bull trap, right? So this could have been all these bulls getting these longs in, and then the market trying to catch them out so it could drive it lower. Or it could also be a fake out. It wants to go up, and now it's just trying to get all of the longs out. And so it might get me out and then take off. You never know what the market's going to do. You just got to go with your plan. Okay, that's it. Thanks, Reddy. Yeah, it's a big family, and it's a lot of fun. It's great. I enjoy every day. It's never a dull moment. It's always wonderful to have so many great people around you all the time. It truly makes my life pure joy. Okay, that's it, guys, and I will see you guys soon. Stay safe, and thank you. Thank you so much.